Hi everyone, Olaf here again at CMP Attachments. Doing a little walk around here on our, what we're calling our next gen tilt rotate bucket. So we have here a KX57 with a 36-inch tilt rotate bucket. We're calling this a modular tilt rotate bucket. Now the first generation that we have is still available, but this is going to be for just tilt and rotate. As you can see, we're using a dual cylinder trunnion style tilt. The original design had a single cylinder laying across the top, and when we went to this design, we started with the 80 class. We're now moving into the 50 class, and then we'll have a 35 and up to a 150 at some point down the road. But this is the tilt for the 50 class, and the system is technically modular with adding a different top, so we could take this top off and put it onto a Bobcat, we could put it onto a John Deere, and then we could also switch out this bucket. And the bucket's bolt to the bottom side of the rotation. That's part of the modular design of this tilt rotate system. So it's not a true tilt rotator, it's really intended to be a cost-effective alternative to it. It doesn't have all the fancy bells and whistles. You use your existing hydraulics and joysticks. It tilts about 30 degrees in either direction. Buckets come with a bolt-on cutting edge. It rotates continuous 360, and it gives a lot of the same functionality as a tilt rotator, but not with all the bells and whistles. It doesn't have the pinchy thing or the integrated grabber, but it's just a nice way to add some of that functionality to your excavator. A lot of guys can't maybe justify a true system. They need this kind of application for certain jobs, certain applications, and that's where this one really comes into. A bucket like this with a dual auxiliary is around 9,500, and it goes up or down with a diverter and different size buckets. But it just gives the guys the option for something to fill a need or a niche that they can't do with the regular buckets. It goes onto your machine like any other attachment, and you continue to use your existing buckets the way you use them for hog and dirt and main excavation. This just gives you another option for the backwards digging, the backfill, side slopes, uneven ground. It's just like I said, just a cost-effective alternative to a tilt rotator. So one of the questions that we get a lot, other attachments, and the answer to the question is yes, to a degree. We build, obviously, our Hydra Grapple. A lot of guys know about our Hydra Grapple. A grapple is not compatible with this because the grapple that we have turns on a slewing bearing with external motors for rotation, whereas this just turns on a worm gear, so it turns real slow, and when you stop the rotation, it basically locks into place. So we don't build a grapple for this because with our grapple we'll have about 40 times the amount of rotational torque, and you want some flexibility for those motors to go over relief if you're turning like the big logs, and you want some of that flexibility when you're rotating. You can't get that with a worm gear, so we don't offer a grapple for this, but we can build anything that goes underneath it. We can do a level bar with a roller, just a regular grading beam. Again, you can change out the buckets to different sizes and widths. We could probably go down to about a 24-inch bucket, but if you go do anything narrower than that, it's narrower than the bolt pattern, and then you're really limited to the depth of your dig by the height of the bucket. So we can get creative with different buckets by making them taller and longer, but this is really just intended for more grading, shaping, again, backfill, side slopes, that kind of application.
Made here, made better, CMP.